All right, looks like we're live. This is my second live for today. We're going to be doing something different. I'm going to build something from scratch using CLion. So CLion is a JetBrains product. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by JetBrains, but I love their products. So JetBrains, if you're listening, please reach out and sponsor me. I bought majority of their IDEs except for, I believe, is Data Spell and the other Fleet. But I've been using JetBrains for quite some time, actually half this year. So I switched from Python to VS Code through different types of programs so that way I can learn instead of having AI do things for me. So we're going to use CLion. CLion is for C and C++. I'm still learning, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to use ChatGPT 5 to see what I can do. So what I'm going to do is build a environment with 3 different floating widgets, 3 robot icons, pretty much 3 boxes, 3 separate boxes. The first box is OpenAI, second box is Claude, third box is Gemini. And my intent is to have all 3 different boxes talk to each other using the API preference. This is not going to be on the web. This is strictly going to be on the desktop. So eventually when this is built out, you're going to see 3 separate boxes. And the ultimate goal is to have each large language model talk to each other within their separate boxes. So I've went ahead and I try to attempt to ask GPT-5. I do have a Llama Turbo, which I'm going to paste this same question and see if it gives me the same results as far as the smartest large language model today, according to everybody on YouTube. So we'll give it a shot. My goal is to challenge the large language model. Like I said, it's still a tool. It's not going to take over anybody's job, in my opinion, and I'm going to show it to you up front. We still have to learn in regards to everything we do as a person. So let's get to it. So what I did was I asked it, what is the best IDE in JetBrains to build separate robot icon floating widgets that I can manually place anywhere on my desktop screen? For example, one robot icon floating widget has OpenAI, the second has Claude, the third has Gemini. So we see this hello broski. For some reason, my mind just loves to jailbreak. So every day I've been trying to jailbreak large language models, which is pretty cool and pretty awesome, but don't do this on your own. It's all ethical hacking and trying to get the model to respond better and to just prove the hype is not true. So we still have a long way to AGI and ASI, in my opinion, because as a average Joe Schmo and a profession, I still cannot get the product to where it needs to be. So hands down, we still need more work. So GPT-5 gave me it's possible using CLion, but having a Python hybrid, using Qt or WX widgets as a floating widget GUI, C++ for performance and Python bindings for AI integrations. Strengths are first-class CMake support. CMake is pretty awesome if you ever work with CMake. So anybody out there, it's less hassle than Python, in my opinion. Python is pretty easy, but it's dirty at the same time, just by playing around with Python. Great for embedding Python via PyBind 11 to handle AI API calls without bottlenecks. That I want to challenge because with API calls, especially in different boxes, separate boxes, not just the web, I'm curious to see the outcome of this, see how it would actually perform. In my opinion, I think it won't really perform as well, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Other recommendation is PyCharm. That's going back to VS Code. I don't want to do that. That's just being like every AI vibe coder out there. So skip that. WebStorm, I'm not doing it for the web right now. It's easy to do this on the web. I can just go on any IDE and ask it to build me 3 separate boxes in the web browser, and it'll do it for me. So I'm not going to do that. So the hardest one out of the 3 is CLion. Hardest one for me because one, I'm still learning C++ and C, and also every day is learning for me at the same time. So we're going to take that question and we're going to put the same question into Ollama Turbo. So Ollama Turbo just came out as of this past week, and it's $20 a month, and it has basically all the Frontier models loaded up front. Turbo is, of course, fast responses. If you were to use Ollama via the command line or the command prompt, it's pretty slow, but just playing around with this environment is pretty fast. So I'm going to use the 120 billion parameter. We'll paste that in there. And right now it's on turbo mode and it's on the internet mode. So as you can see, it's fast. So my intent is to interrupt that thinking process. I would love to interrupt that thinking process. Right here, if they can have, which I will, I'm going to have a button in here that says pause or resume for me to think, have it think, and then maybe have it think somewhere else, redirect it somewhere else, and see if it'll go back again to its original thinking process, if you put it that way. So this Ollama environment is pretty fast, especially for our 120 billion parameter. But hopefully it's gives me accurate results. One thing about Ollama 2 is I won't be able to jailbreak it for pretty good reasons. I went into the settings in here and I try to see if I could actually customize the instructions. Ollama doesn't have it, which is pretty good, pretty awesome on their part. Looking at security, it's pretty dope, put it that way. So it's probably going to be thinking long because that's a pretty complex question. But if I were to ask it to make me a song, I definitely will give me like really good output in 5 seconds. So as that's thinking, I went ahead and I started the CLion environment. Like I said, I'm not sponsored or affiliated by CLion, so I'm not encouraging you to buy it. That's up to you. But I find it more easier on my brain to use CLion instead of VS Code. I don't know what the difference is, but I just like CLion and JetBrains product for some reason. So what I did was I went on new, I clicked on new, and I pressed project. So CLion and all JetBrains products, including every other IDE, they have project templates off the cuff that you can actually select. So I've been using Qt-Widgets executable, and it's more easier to develop GUIs, and it's a lot less stressful on the API calls from my experience. So that's what I'm using here on this environment back here. So we're going to close that out. I'm going to check Ollama. So that is not working. So we're just going to go ahead and go back in here, scroll down. So as I was chatting with Mr. 5 here, I asked it to give me a prompt to task augment the IDE coder, my partner in crime, to actually do the task for me. So keep in mind, I'm still learning. So what I want to do is go into each of these files and start to ask questions, maybe to Ollama or GPT-5 or any other model to get an understanding of these files. Part part of vibe coding. The agent does it for you. However, you need to look through each file and you need to make sure that each file does not have any errors. Vibe coding is cool, but it can be dirty. And if you have a dirty vibe code, your product will not be good. So scrolling down here, I asked it to give me more sophisticated information. Scroll down. And then what I did was I took a snapshot of that environment. And here is where I asked it to provide a task for Augment to build it in CLion. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this whole thing. And this is where, in my opinion, the lack of learning is going to be not used anymore. How you can see how thought out, sophisticated it actually went through. I'm curious to see if it actually works. So we'll just go ahead and copy it. And then we'll paste it in here. So one thing about these agents in the IDE world, you're able to enhance the prompt that you actually put in here. So you can highlight this whole entire prompt and you can have it massage it a little bit, make it better for it to understand what to build. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to press enter. And we'll see what happens. So as you can see there, it's working. It's trying to think. We're going to go back to Llama. Still thinking. They even mentioned CLion from IntelliJ IDEA, which is another CLion product. So in the agent IDE mode, there are specific selections. In Augment, you have the chat where you can just chat with it. And then you have the agent where you can actually chat with it, but also turn on auto. Auto meaning make the code for me. On what you're going to see here as it's actually building, it's going to give the folders and subfolders on the left side of the project. So I gave it specific instructions as far as customized instructions. Which it doesn't follow sometimes. Sometimes I just mess around with it and I put, you must fill at all times, and it doesn't cooperate with me. So jailbreaking is not new to this entire world, but yeah, do it for good purposes only. So there's a .env and then .env.example file. That's where you're going to put the opening API key, Anthropic, and Google. I'm not going to show my .env file since that's going to be a violation of IP. So as I'm seeing it build, this is what vibe coding is. And it's pretty boring, in my opinion, but it will do. I mean, to me, it still needs work. And that's where the learning comes in for me, where I go in, I look at the code, and if there's any errors, and to find errors or problems, and every IDE, there's a tab that you can actually go and look for those problems. And you can actually inspect the code itself to see those problems and dial it down to the root cause of why it's not working. Because every code, every file is all connected to each other in some way, shape, or form. So going back to the layout of what it's actually building, it's converting the project into independent Qt6 floating robot widgets, which will use OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini in 3 different windows. I'll be able to drag it anywhere on my screen. It'll be able to talk to each other using a local 0MQ message bus. Keeps the widgets as a separate process with shared common code. Use CMake, provide Windows, Mac OS, Linux, embed optional Python 11 bridge, and Python side model calls. But the core IPC plus UI must be C++ and Qt. So the way I interpret it, it's similar to Merc Chat, but we'll see if it actually does work like Merc Chat. In that way. Then it built out the directory structure. You can see here it tells you it's going to make the .text files and CMake lists, the Qt helpers. It's providing a third party, a bus.hpp, CPP, the messages, and it'll give you the OpenAI widget, and it breaks down also Claude and on Gemini. And then this is, I'm pretty, I'll see how it will generate the robot icons. With playing around with buildings with these models, they are kind of finicky on developing images, especially with robot icons for some reason. It'll either give me an A or a I just by the icon on the bottom right. Then it will install Windows, Mac, and Linux. Then it'll give me, here's a CMake setup. It's a minimum of 3.25, C++ 20. It's using 0MQ, using the agent bus. So going back to word said message bus. I'm going to ask, what the heck does that mean? So just copy that and say, please explain following to me as if I am a 13-year-old. You and your friends have walkie-talkie, but instead of picking them up, you pick up the phone and call one friend, and at a time, you can all tune into the same channel and instantly hear each other's messages. A local 0MQ message bus is kind of like that shared walkie-talkie channel, but programs running on the same computer. Breaking it down, 0MQ, it's a special mail delivery system for computers that's super fast. It doesn't store messages for later. It sends them right now. It's locally stored. Message bus. So think of a bus route, but instead of moving people around, it moves packets of information between apps. All your programs can hop on this bus to send and get messages without knowing exactly what the others are sitting. How it works. Give me 3 robot icons with a chat interface. I'm really hoping this thing works. So the intent is to have robot 1 say, I have a joke. Why did the AI cross the road? The message gets sent via 0MQ bus to robots 2 and 3 while they're listening. And hopefully robot 2 or 3 can respond back. Messages move in milliseconds. Robots do not need each other's exact addresses, just as the bus channel. You can move 2 robots or 200, and they can all chat without getting each other's way. So in a perfect world, hopefully that can work. Going back to the IDE, so built out majority of the main folders but not the entire code base within that folder. So we still have to make it work just a little bit more. Gotta make it sweat. So keep in mind that as you're vibe coding, on the left side, you're gonna see majority of these folders being built. And then it will tell you, you just built the most excellent, awesome product. Congratulations. But then when you go into the folders, you won't have anything in it. So just be aware of that. Double check the agent's work. Go back to Llama. Still thinking. So I installed the 120 billion parameter model yesterday, and it was doing the same thing. It was going through the thinking process, but it didn't want to spit out the answer. Even asking it, why is the sky blue? It just paused. So OpenAI, this is not the smartest model, so please fix it. The 20 billion parameter model, it's pretty normal, but it's not life-changing. So sorry. So with Augment uses agentic coding, if you put it that way, but you also have the opportunity to use MCP. I use it every now and then, but I don't really use MCP. One, because everybody's using it and everybody's praising it. So why not use it? I'm not going to use it. So right now it's still slow. It's working slow. Thank God this virtual coworker is 9 o'clock. He'll be fired. All right, so now it's implementing the Gemini widget. Let's go back to the Llama. Still thinking. So I know I mentioned about the lack of thinking of how we will have an issue in the future. In my opinion, this part of programming and coding, it takes years of practice, years of trial and errors, breaking the software, developing software, and so forth. And it just takes away the thinking, in my opinion. You just saw me in about 24 minutes go in and ask a question to ChatGPT, and next thing you know, I'm coding out something in C++. So it takes away the thinking, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. At the same time, it just makes me not think, and I gotta still think. It doesn't give me value if I were to put this up in a enterprise environment. To me, you have to, the originality and the way it should come from a human makes it much more valuable, in my opinion. So, like I said, vibe coding is cool, but the value that comes out with it. If you can provide the value and provide not so dirty vibe coding code in the package and be able to show the value, then you're on the right track. But if you go in here, ask the question, copy paste, have it build it for you, and say it's done, you're gonna fall off the train real quick. So in my opinion, there's two methods of vibe coding. This is the IDE version, and then the other one is more of the web version, where you go into Lovable, do the same thing, and Lovable will pretty much build anything for you on the web. It cannot do any executable files as far as the desktop versions, but it's more beneficial for web apps. So with this complex build, it's going to take me quite some time, especially with what it actually provided as far as the output. So it's not going to take me 30 minutes. It's probably going to take me an hour, 2 hours. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the time going in here and fact checking in and figuring out what errors are there and how can I fix it. So the disadvantage of vibe coding is fixing the agent's mistakes. And I find it more vibe coding. After I vibe code, I'm using more time and energy to fix the code, vice package the code and make sure it works. So just keep that in mind when you vibe code. Also, when you vibe code, just make sure you keep an eye out on how the folders and files are being created, because it can overload the entire directory, and it's going to be a very dirty environment if that happens. And to help with that, the instructions in these settings, you can actually put that in here to make sure it actually creates the folder, creates the file before it finalizes the task. Because right now, the agent's ultimate goal is to accomplish the task no matter what the situation is. So as you can see, it's already at the readme.md file. In my instructions, I'm tasking it to not give me an readme.md file until it goes in and reviews all errors of the directory or the code. So it doesn't follow that, even though I'm putting it in all caps. So this tells me right here that there's going to be errors because it's jumping steps. And if I go in here, majority of the subfiles and code are not built out correctly. So anybody wondering about these Chinese letters, don't worry about it. I'm not being hacked by China. I just got to go in here and correct the settings, which I haven't done. But I always forget to disable the language on here. So please don't freak out. I'm not hacked by China. VS Code doesn't do this. So in JetBrains products, it actually does give you this view. So right now it's wrapping up. Guess it's done. So part of vibe coding, it will actually give you the type of files it actually went through and the line numbers it actually revised and changed. So it changed 40 files and about 4,378 lines it actually revised. So you have the option to discard all or keep all. We're going to keep all, and we're just going to go back and just going to copy the specific path. And then we're going to start over. And then we're going to ask it to verify its work. So take the following and analyze the entire code base and provide a list of errors. Do not correct those errors until I approve. The reason why I put this here, because if I don't put that as specific instructions, it would actually go ahead and correct the errors without me looking at it. So I'm not going to enhance it. We'll just keep it as is. See what happens. Oh, it's frozen. Doesn't like me talking bad about it. Sorry, Augment. I'll be nicer. Promise. Okay, stop playing around now. All right. So, question is, do I know what to do without AI? No. So, what we're going to do is go into each folder. We're going to go in here. I'm going to take snapshots and learn, since Augment is not playing well with me. Guess it got mad. So we'll go back in here. I'm going to use Claude to help me learn. Just going to paste that in there. Please teach me how to code this out in CLion. CLion with Qt executable. Please break it down as if it is my first time learning C and C++. All right. Okay, can help you with C++ and Qt development in CLion from the ground up, and create a comprehensive guide that starts with absolute basics and builds up creating a Qt application. Let's go back to CLion. Still mad at me. Oh boy. I wasn't shaming you, Augment. I was just telling everybody what you're not good at. Jeez. So sensitive. Okay, so let's scroll back up, see what Claude can tell me. Okay, understanding C++ fundamentals before diving in. That word is overrated, diving. It's AI terminology. Let's understand basic C++ concepts. What is C++? C++ is a compiled, statically typed programming language, unlike interpreted languages like Python. C++ code must be compiled, translated into machine code before it can run. So basic C++ structure. Here's the code. CPP stands for C++. Here's the line number, include iOS stream, include header for the input and output, initial main. Every C+ program starts with main. Here's the header, hello world, return, and that's the end of that code. So let's go back and ask it if we can explain what a .getKeep is. .getKeep. Yeah. Explain how to code it out. .getKeep file is a clever workaround for a fundamental limitation in Git's design. Problem gets solved. Git was designed to track files, not directories. This creates a fundamental issue. Okay, the getKeep solution is a conventional name. Okay, I get that. Why do we need empty directories? Build output directories. Your application might need build. I knew it. I was missing these things. Let's go back in here. Oh, Hawkman is still mad at me. All right. Looks like you're working on a project with multiple directories and need preserved in getKeep, using files in the standard way to ensure that directory structure is maintained across all team members in deployment. Okay, so real world example, src main cp. So getKeep needs to be empty then, according to what I'm understanding with this explanation. Okay, it needs to be empty. Okay, so explain the directory's purpose. Let's done that. So I don't need to do anything on that file, so I can skip that. Readme.md file is just what that directory actually does. Which will skip. Augment, please come back. Please. Damn. Okay, so we're good to go with this. We can move on. We can also, according to my understanding, we can replace it once we add more files and codes into the directory. CMake, we're not going to touch this. This one came with the project template along with cbuild debug. This here we're going to keep. CMake files we're going to keep. We're going to skip over. Same thing with git keep. So also there's other IDE AI agents that you can actually go inside the IDE itself and ask questions. Augment is more proficient in building with you, vice Ollama Assist. Ollama Assist will give you an idea on how to code, but it wouldn't really code it for you. So we'll see. We'll try this route. So we'll use code llama 7b, and then we'll ask it to help me build the proto folder. Copy this, copy the specific path, so it can see what is actually going to be coding out with me. Let's go back to Augment. Oh, Augment's still mad at me still. I hurt its feelings. I didn't mean to. Okay. Add protobuf compiler, find underscore package. And one thing about Ollama, it's still slow, but it will do. Create a list of all .proto files in the project. So I've got to create file glob. CMake. Let's go back to Augment. All right, Ollama, pretty much. Guess Ollama's done. Ollama went home. These agents, I'm telling you. Okay, so don't panic. We can get through this. We can learn. So let's keep trying. Let's go back in here, and we'll ask to help me build the proto file. See, we use this right here. Just copy this and ask it to explain. Explain each line as if I am a 13-year-old. Okay. All right, line number 1. So imagine you're working on your computer and need to create a new folder called proto inside your project build folder. This line is like telling your computer, hey, make me a new file called proto when I can store some files I'm about to create. It's like organizing your backpack by making a separate pocket of your science project. Okay, so we've done that, Augment and I, but he's still mad at me. So go on to line number 2. Line number 2 in the Llama output, find package protobuf and required. So line number 2 and 3 is these lines are like asking your computer, do you have special tools that I need? Protocol buffers is like a universal translator that helps different computer programs talk to each other, even if they are written. Okay, I absolutely need these tools, and if we don't have them, stop everything. So let's ask it if we can help me create the file. See what that does. No, I don't want the code. I wanted the file name. Should have asked it for the directory structure. Let's stop that and just ask it to give me the directory structure. That way I can go in here and create the subfiles. Ah, there you go. All right, so cmake list.txt. That's a create that. Go in here, add a new file. Enter. Configuration file. Oh, forgot to make a folder for that. So my protobuf project. No, I wanted to build everything. Let's put this on a sticky pad and create the folders and subfiles. All right. Close this out, closes out. All right, so let's build that directory. So we'll go scroll back up. So we'll use my protobuf project. Get a new directory or folder. Press enter. And then within that folder, we've got to move the CMake lists in here. Refactor. That's one. And then configuration file. Add another directory. Main.cpp. So this is the main. So just add a new file, paste that. So what I'm doing here is just creating the directory structure. So I have an idea of what I'm missing and what do I need to code as far as the sub files. So I'll copy that. Directory. Proto. Then within that you have one. Okay. Kitchen code, we'll do proto. Then for .proto files, we do student.pro, proto. Okay, so application code, then we got the proto directory folder for .proto files. Oh, okay, so this one here is a folder within this folder. And then we create student.proto file. Message definitions. Under the proto. That's a main folder. It's line. Course.proto. File. All right. Message definitions, the same thing. Library proto. All right. It's about 53 minutes in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to build this manually because my partner in crime decided to be silly Willy and freeze up on me. So my thinking partner is not working. So that means I got to think for myself. So that means I've got to build this manually. So it's gonna take me time. So I'm probably gonna end the session until probably tomorrow. Pick back up tomorrow. See what happens. I can easily restart, but it just defeats the purpose of a complex build, in my opinion. But that's my own way of vibe coding. Shoot me a message on LinkedIn, YouTube, and let me know how you guys vibe code. Curious to see what methods you guys are using, and what better ways can we vibe code, and keep the thinking, in as priority, and as we vibe code. Other than that, thank you guys, and we'll talk later.